up for Big Little Comedy putting on a great festival here in Cleveland. Hey, look, give it up for yourself. This doesn't happen without an audience. Come on, you deserve it. Give yourself a round of applause. And you know what? I just quit my day job. I think that deserves a round of applause.
Yeah!
Feels good, you guys. Feels so good. You know, looking back at that last day at work, that would have been a great day to sexually harass somebody. But you can't go back. You can't. So now I am just doing comedy for a living. And a lot of people are like, oh, wow, you're just doing comedy. Oh, how's that working out? How's that going? I'll tell you how it's going. I have a Cricket phone account. I say account because I don't have a phone. I broke my phone. Cannot afford a new one, but I'm still paying the minimum balance so that I can check my voicemail on other people's phones. Yeah. It's going real good. I got an apartment with a roommate, and I pay less in rent under the condition that I don't go in the living room. It's a pretty sweet life. Pretty sweet how comedy's going. For breakfast today, I had peanut butter and jelly out of a bowl. Don't throw your panties just yet, ladies. So is anybody else's mom slowly going batshit crazy? My mom's losing her mind. I only get to see her about once a year. She lives in Oklahoma, so I go back and I visit Oklahoma once a year. If you've never been, don't bother. Unless you love chain restaurants and Native American casinos, that's about it. Very excited. When I go back, I see my mom. She's taken lately to doing her Christmas shopping years in advance. Not months, but freaking years. For example, last year, I opened up my gift for my mom. I received one bottle of Limp Bizkit cologne. In unrelated news, I now have for sale one bottle of Limp Bizkit cologne. See me after the show if you're interested. She also gave me the weirdest Christmas gift I've ever received in my life, which was 8 of my dead grandmother's old dresses. Don't get me wrong, she was a big lady, they'll fit. I found it to be a very odd gift. She thought it was the best gift she could ever get me. She was so excited about it. She didn't even wrap them up. She had them hanging in the closet of the guest bedroom, and she just takes me by the hand and leads me back there with this just smirk on her face like, I've done it this time. She opens up the closet door and is like, ta-da! And I'm like, what's happening? She's like, Mom, why did you get me 8 of Nana's old dresses? And then she just leans in and she goes, oh, you know, for your comedy. My mom has never seen me do comedy. I don't know what she thinks is happening, but I know it does involve me dressed like a golden girl. But I kept them. I'm pretty excited about the possibilities. I'm pretty sure this is how Tyler Perry got his start. So. I don't know if you guys know this about Martin Lawrence. He's got that Big Mama's character. And that character was actually started when he got for Christmas one year 8 of his dead grandmother's old fat suits. So. We got anybody here on a date tonight? Any romance? She's shaking her head no. What about you guys? You guys together? Hell no, she says. What about you guys? Watch your hands, buddy. How long you guys been together?
30 years.
30 years, oh shit. So you guys have sex yet? Well, 30 years, you might need to spice things up a little bit. I don't know if you guys have heard of this 69 position. It's real popular with all the kids. When I was younger and I first heard of the 69 position, I was under the impression there was a numerical list. And this one just felt 69th in order. Then I saw the numbers were put together and I was like, oh, I see what you're doing. That is clever. That's when I invented a sexual position, you guys. I'm a sexual pioneer. That's why I invented the 96 position. We want to try this. What that is, that's where you and your lover proceed to fart on the back of each other's necks. Nobody gets pregnant. Hold on, you might get pink eye, but nobody gets pregnant. So just doing comedy for a living, you have to hustle to get these gigs. in order to pay the bills, and I actually did a gig recently. I was on Craigslist, real glamorous gig. I played Captain Hook at a 5-year-old's birthday party. Yeah, I get the body for Smee, but they wanted Hook, so that's what they got. And while I'm at the party, this 5-year-old kid, he looked up to me, just wide-eyed, and he goes, "How did your belly get so big?" Thanks for the self-esteem boost, you little shit. But what was amazing is he didn't say it like he was grossed out or disgusted or trying to be mean. He was just in awe. He'd never seen one like it. So I said, "Sit down, kid, we're going to have a talk." And we did. We taught each other a lot of things that day. I taught him about eating my feelings. And he taught me about the Cookie Monster. I don't know if you guys have strolled down Sesame Street lately, but shit is changing, you guys. The Cookie Monster's no longer eating just cookies anymore. Apparently cookies are now a sometimes food, he says. And he mostly sticks to like fruits and vegetables and bullshit that the Cookie Monster shouldn't be eating. So apparently there's this epidemic, in the U.S., all these morbidly obese children. And so the parents got together, they had a meeting, they said, "We gotta do something about this. Clearly it's the Cookie Monster's influence." Take it from me, not the Cookie Monster's fault. I was a morbidly obese kid myself. Don't blame it on the Cookie Monster, blame it on an absentee father and a lack of self-esteem. First off, parents, he's a monster. So if your kids don't know they don't want to emulate a monster, I want to encourage you not to let them watch that Charlize Theron film.
Jesus.
Talking about Mighty Joe Young, it's a terrible movie, don't let the kids watch it. Also, still calling himself the Cookie Monster, even though he only occasionally eats cookies. It's freaking ridiculous, like me calling myself an ice cream man when I sell aluminum siding door to door. If you really want to impact these kids, don't change the Cookie Monster's diet. Have him continue eating nothing but cookies, then one day on an episode of Sesame Street just die of a heart attack. And then when your kids freak out, say, "Mom, Dad, what happened to the Cookie Monster?" Say, "He's dead." Because its fat ass ain't nothing but cookies. Shut your mouth and eat your orange slice. So honky's a weird word, right? Honky, I know it's supposed to be like a racial slur, right? But it doesn't have that sting to it. Probably because it's made for white people and we deserve it. Also, it sounds kind of like a birthday clown, right? They go, "Oh, well, Susie's turning 7, so we've hired Honky to come make some balloon animals." I remember the first time I heard the word honky, I was in 3rd grade, and my family had moved to this neighborhood, and we were the only white family in the neighborhood. And so I'm playing on my front lawn, like you do as a kid, and some other kid about my age just is across the street, just starts yelling shit at me. I guess to pick on the new kid, right? The new kid gets picked on. So I yelled back at him, I go, "Why don't you come over here and I'll beat your ass?" Because I don't take no shit in 3rd grade. And he yells back at me, "I don't come to honkies." I had no idea what that word meant, but I had no problem crossing the street myself. So I did, and we beat the shit out of each other for like 15 minutes, and then became best friends. Because that's what happens when you're a kid. You don't have that hate in your heart. You're just like, "Oh, I'm tired of beating your ass. I'm tired of beating your ass as well. What do you want to do now?" "I don't know. Want to play?" "Yes." So we did. We ended up building a clubhouse together. It was made of 4 pieces of water warp plywood, rusty nails, and poor parental supervision. This thing should have collapsed on us and killed us, but it didn't. And all the neighborhood kids would come over and play in this clubhouse. And I remember one day a girl in the neighborhood named April was like, "Hey, we gotta come up with a name for the club." And I was like, "April, that's a great idea. We should come up with a name. What should we be called?" She goes, "I know. Why don't we be called the Black Panthers?" Now, I was not familiar with the organization at this point. All I knew is that sounded like the most badass name for a club ever. So for a brief period in the 3rd grade, I was a member of the Black Panthers. So folks, I should be dead. I'm a giant idiot. I do a lot of stupid shit. And, case in point, when I was 18 years old, I was a pretty cool dude. Pretty cool guy. Kind of guy got invited to keg parties. You guys remember keg parties?
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, some people do. Most people don't, because we're adults now, right? we shouldn't be going to keg parties anymore. Like, we might have a keg at a party, but we don't call it a keg party because there's no reason to hide the booze in the woods. But at 18, we had this keg parties in South Florida. And we snuck this keg to this area of undeveloped land. It was called Seven Lakes is what we call it. It's more like Seven Ponds. But we just brought it out there into the woods, hidden away from the police. And we all drove out there to drink because we were smart. And this is the age, I think we've all been there, where you love the feeling of being drunk, but you hate the taste of everything required to get you drunk. So you just try to black out, just binge drink it and get as fucking loaded as possible. I'm hanging out there in the woods, just next to this SUV, I don't even know who it belongs to, just shirt off, man, tits flapping in the wind, I don't care though. I'm getting drunk. I'm not even drinking out of a cup, I got a 2-quart Kool-Aid pitcher. Oh. I'm fucking doing it. And I'm standing next to this SUV with somebody and I'm having an animate conversation. Because when you're 18, every conversation is an animate conversation. I don't even know what I was talking about. Probably how I thought the band Crazy Town was going to stand the test of time. And as I'm standing next to this SUV, I'm punctuating the end of every sentence by slapping the passenger side window until eventually accidentally smash, I break it. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I may be blackout drunk, but I'm not irresponsible. I want to let this guy know, whoever it is that broke it, you know. But before I could find him, word spread through the keg party, and this dude just comes rushing at me. He's like, motherfucker, you broke my window! And I was like, yeah, I sure did. I'd like to get it taken care of. Let me give you my information. And he goes, fuck that shit, you writing me a check right now. I was like, yeah, dude, it's a keg party in the woods. Did not think the checkbook would be necessary. And then he goes, no, well, fuck that shit. If you ain't got a check, we're fighting. And so I should mention at this point in my life, I was a Division I prospect in wrestling. And so I could handle myself. This guy just lowers his head and rushes at me. So I just gently pick him up, throw him on the ground, and go, stop it! He gets up, rushes me again. I pick him up, put him on the ground, and go, I said, stop it! You're being ridiculous! This guy then, he gets up, and he goes, fuck that shit, we're not fighting, I'm getting my gun. Yeah. At this point, if I was a smart man, I'd have left the party. Instead, I just stood around high-fiving people. Sure enough, he shows up with a gun. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a guy point a gun at your head, but immediately all semblance of being a cool guy just goes right out the window. And so I just curled up in a fetal position, was like, we'll borrow a check, we'll build a bank right here, I'll open an account, I don't know, whatever. Dude, take care of this shit. Well, he had his gun pointed though, and people or his friends are kicking me in the ribs. My friend Ray had heard about what happened. He pulls up in his pickup truck, and I'm like, shit, yeah, I can make my escape. I'm got my fingers crossed. Hopefully he won't shoot. Spoiler alert, he did not. And as I leapt into the back of Ray's pickup truck, my pants left my body. They were loose. Casualty to the situation, but I landed in the truck. We made our escape Dukes of Hazzard style. And to me, the best part of that story is I never had to pay for that fucking window. You guys have been phenomenal tonight. Thanks so much. I'm Jamie Campbell. Yeah.